Hello and welcome to our series here at the Minneapolis Foundation on the state of Minnesota nonprofits. In January, we spoke with the head of the Minnesota Council of Nonprofits about the challenges facing the nonprofit sector. You can find that chat on the Minneapolis Foundation's YouTube page. This is an extension of that conversation as part of the work we do to bring fund holders closer to the work happening on the ground. By highlighting the work of specific nonprofits, we hope fund holders will gain a better understanding of how rapid changes are affecting organizations and be equipped to make your giving more impactful in this moment. My name is Tom Weber, and I am pleased to be joined by Jamie Dolynchuk, who is president of Community Emergency Service, which is an organization that has existed for more than 50 years that works in and around food security. The top of its website reads, "A place where people come hungry and leave hopeful." Jamie, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks for having me.
So how's your organization doing right now?
Well, I mean, like you say, CES, Community Emergency Service, we've been around, it seems like forever. We started in the early 1970s. We were one of the first food shelves in one of the poorest communities in the Twin Cities, we're located in the Phillips neighborhood. And we run three primary programs. So we run a very large food shelf. We will serve hundreds and hundreds of people per day. But I also run the largest Meals on Wheels program in the state. And we also operate the only organized pet support program. And what we do is we have volunteers that go out and they deliver pet food as well as free veterinarian services to a tremendous amount of our low-income people in the neighborhoods as well. And so when we say how is the organization doing right now, it's a struggle, right? I mean, I think most of the viewers will be generally familiar with the state of food insecurity in Minnesota, and that's not common to our state only. It's right across the U.S. But we have seen a literal threefold increase of visits to food shelves since about 2019, 2020. And the numbers continue to rise. And CES is not specific to that. I mean, we have as many neighbors desperate for food as any other area of the state. And what I've said to people is we have to be careful about quoting those numbers because those are successful food visits or visits to food shelves. And what I mean by that is those are people that have come, they've waited in line, and they've successfully went away with food. Well, there is many people in food shelves today across Minnesota that are not getting into the food shelf. They are turned away because of lack of food and resources. They often have to come back multiple times. And so the number, in my belief, is really quite compounded from what we see.
There's a lot of stories in the news in the last few months about cuts at the federal level and moves being made at different agencies. Has that rained down on you? Has that affected your organization?
It does. I mean, we have a lot of support from food banks such as Second Harvest, the food group, and so they will be the first to often feel the pain from a government funding slowdown, but it trickles down to us very quickly, right? I mean, less resources for them by definition means less resources for me. We have a particular pain point because being one of the largest Meals on Wheels provider, that is a program that is squarely in the sights of funding reductions right now. And so, we've made the choice as CES that we're not going to slow or stop services to people. It simply means there will be a much larger burden placed upon our shoulders to fundraise to find money for those meals and serve those neighbors.
How would you say your job and the work of your organization is different than, maybe 6 months ago?
Great question. So 6 months ago, I did not organize mock scenarios of immigration officials coming into my building, right? I mean, there are a tremendous amount of additional pressures that are placed on our families that they didn't have 6 months ago. Families that are hardworking, have kids in school, simply cannot make ends meet. They may be working at a minimum wage or a low wage per hour job, and they just don't have enough for housing, for food, and for childcare. On top of it, you have families like that are now faced with the prospect of, what happens if immigration officials come into our building, and our building is a public place. I mean, they can come in, and how do we help inform them about what their rights are without getting in the way of due processes, of course. And so that's been a real challenge for them. We have, I think we are probably the most diverse of any food shelf in the cities. About 95% of the visitors that come to see me are define themselves as BIPOC. 65% of the people that come to see me are single females or female heads of households, and 40% of the people that I serve are children. I mean, these are, for a person living in the suburbs, these are staggering numbers. And when I started to come to CES and help them about a year ago, I was astonished at the amount of need that's here. So,
Well, given that, and as you always have to do as the leader of an organization, always think to the future as well. What should people know about the work you will be doing over the next 6 months?
yep. And what I would say is, CES is guided by a tremendous amount, a small amount of staff. Most of my staff are part-time. Almost all of them I hire from the local Phillips community because it's a really great way to invest back in people. And so a lot of my staff members are also active or visitors to my food shelves and my programs. The staff, the volunteers, I think that sometimes, these types of challenges actually make you stronger, right? And so what we've said as a team is we are going to be the most innovative food shelf that we can be in the state of Minnesota. We about 6 or 7 months ago were the first ones to introduce in this area online appointment systems. It functions exactly like if anybody is familiar with the Open Table app. We've introduced that for the food shelf, and so we've taken people's visits literally from 5 hours waiting in lines outside in the cold food shelves down to 20 minutes. And very recently, in fact, I just got approval from the Planning Commission days ago. We are the first organization to ever introduce not only in the Midwest US, but one of the first in the US, what are called refrigerated food lockers. And for those that are not familiar with this, we've taken basically Amazon drop boxes that you would see in front of a Home Depot or something. And we had them converted by the company that builds these Amazon boxes to be refrigerated. And that is largely to address the need of our clientele. I mean, when you have 65% that are single mothers who are working during the day and they can't get to our food shelf during regular hours, they have a choice. Often what they used to do before is they would pull a child out of school, literally to wait in our food lines. And we've done away with that with the appointment system, but we've now introduced these food lockers, and we stock them with food. They pick from a variety of baskets of food online for us, and they can pick them up anytime, day or night. And it is remarkable. I mean, I brought these in, I'd say about 3 months ago. They're already going to be at full capacity within the next month. And so I'm going to be putting another order in for a next set of lockers. And then I think, probably the most important thing is, we operate in the lower level of what was a former Lutheran church. I mean, we've converted it to a food shelf and Meals on Wheels, but, I'm going through an important renovation, not because I want a more beautiful food shelf, although that's part of it. It's because I need space, right? I don't have enough space for the amount of people that are coming in to see me. So we're going through that over the next 4 or 5 months, and we're going to renovate the lower level and really bring enhanced dignity to people when they come in and see us and have a good shopping experience.
Well, I guess final question then, as you've listed all of that, how are you feeling these days?
It's I'd say it's honestly a mix. I feel my heart breaks for our neighbors, right? My heart breaks for them because um, these are people that in the vast majority of cases are incredibly hardworking people. They come in, sometimes a married couple, a young married couple will come in with families. I have students that literally take the bus from the U of M to come to our food shelf. I have devoted some of my rescue food. I bring in rescue food every morning. I brought it to other food shelves that are literally on bended knee because of funding and are going to close. So we're keeping them in food. And in the last couple of months, I've taken over other food shelves, right? So we've worked with 2 other local food shelves in the area, closed them down and incorporated their neighbors to come in to see us because we are so large. And on the one hand, it's heartbreaking to see our neighbors go through this. On the other hand, it's pretty invigorating to see how our neighbors, our staff, and our volunteers all rally around. And so, we try to bring, as much a sense of normalcy as possible to their daily lives, even though there's a lot of challenges. We hold events for them. We have community dinners for them. We had last year, with the wonderful help of the Vikings Foundation, we held a Vikings Family Day, the last day of school for all the kids, because they don't get to do these normal things, right? We're having that again in mid-June. We're going to do it again the second year. And all of those things, we have holiday parties, are designed to just give children in particular in this neighborhood the sense of what it's like to have these things that other children have in the neighborhoods. I mean, there's so many times you see families that come in that really do feel like, the basic things, what we would consider the basic things in life, the good things, food, shelter, they're for other people. Right. I mean, it's not something that I'm going to achieve. And so, CS has worked very hard to put our arms around these people and really give them that hope.
Well, I appreciate your time, Jamie, for sharing that with us here on this video. So thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you very much, Tom.
We appreciate you joining us. We also invite our fund holders to connect with their philanthropic advisors if you have further questions about this organization or the area of work that this organization works in. And we're excited to work with you to find a plan for giving that works best for you. So thanks for joining us.